Hey Sagittarius, welcome to your February reading. I am in my bedroom, so I have to hold the mic in front of my face. So as I shuffle, you might not be able to hear me, sorry, because I'm gonna have to put my mic down, but I may talk, you may hear me, you may not. It's just a lot quieter than when it's to my face. So bear with me, let's shuffle and let's begin our reading. Okay. Okay guys, nice and quick. Just make sure, yep, we're all good. Okay, so your first card, I found it quite interesting when I saw it. So basically we're in February, it is Valentine's month, on the 14th, Valentine's Day, and February is ruled by Venus. So typically things of the heart will come up in the reading and just for you in general at this time of year. It's kind of collective energy as well as positioning. You have Kitsune. I'll show you who to trust. I don't know why I put that down. I feel as though in terms of love, you are actually going through like a healing period, Sagittarius, of like healing your heart. And I think trust is a big issue. So if you are single looking for relationships, this really is the area that you are healing. I'm doing that myself as well, so I fully understand this. But I get this sense of really, I feel as though you are at that point where you are ready to let someone else in, but it's just the fear of whether or not, you know, you can trust somebody else or trust someone to come into the life that you have built so far. I am going to go on to if you're in a relationship or you are at the beginning stages, but I'm just focusing on this single aspect for now. I kind of feel as though, you know, you have become comfortable with the kind of the lifestyle that you have set in place for yourself, and inviting somebody else is scary. Now, during this time, astrologically, it is a time for taking good risks. And I feel as though anything that brings up internal fears, obviously these are representations of wounds that need healing and things you need to pay attention to in that aspect. But in regards to taking action, I think if you are feeling apprehensive and nervous, that is the whole kind of universe of saying, hey, look, this gets you feeling something. That's probably because there's something here for you to explore. And new is always kind of daunting. And I kind of want you to realize, like, if what you are feeling is your you thing or a genuine, you know, intuitive thing. And I feel as though the universe is saying, look, take a risk, jump in. I will show you who you can trust. And I do feel as though you are kind of attracting people that are more on your wavelength now anyway, because you've gotten yourself into that position where anybody that comes into your circle is coming on the same energetic level as you are. And I don't think you will tolerate anything less than that anyway. So keep that in mind. So for those of you who are dipping your toes in the dating pool and you're already like, you may have met somebody, you're already connecting, but it's beginning stages. I'm just recording, show me after I finish. Sorry, I didn't remind them that I was doing it just before. I gave them lunch. Anyway, continue. Yeah, if you're in that, I kind of feel like you have someone loyal, and this goes to people in relationships as well. I feel like it's the same kind of guidance here. Is that this person is loyal, and you will find that you can trust them. However, you may still be on that shaky ground on whether or not you can. And this card sort of says, look, if they are trustworthy, you will see that. It will be shown to you. I do feel as though if there are things not to be trustworthy of, they will be revealed. However, I get this sense of, instead of jumping to conclusions, overthinking, being extra sensitive during this time, because I feel like we might be prone to that at the moment. It's kind of like, trust first, because I mean, this is something that I try to kind of teach myself in my reprogramming of my mind, because I do have trust issues with making connections with people. It's not something that happens easily for me. Sorry, I'm just going to ask them to turn the iPad down. Guys, whoever's iPad's on really loud, please can you turn it down a little bit? I'm just recording and it's really loud. Thank you. Hopefully that hasn't been too much of a distraction for you guys. The mic is kind of doesn't pick up as much elsewhere as it does next to it, so I'm hoping that has cancelled out the noise that I can hear, because I could barely hear myself think. Watch me have to freaking redo this whole video and I'll be so stressed. Anyway, reprogramming. Let me just get my trail of thought back again. Yes, so it's all about kind of realizing that everybody deserves trust, that we should naturally trust one another, because no one person is the same. And I don't like this trust is own kind of notion, and that is something that I used to hold on to and say myself, like, oh, you don't just get it straight up. But I feel like everybody should get respect and trust in the beginning, because again, we're all good people and our essence are good. It's when people show you really that you can't trust them, that yes, that's when you're like, okay, I gave you my trust and my respect like you deserved, but clearly you showed me that you no longer deserve that. And that's when we take away that trust, or we, take inventory and realize like we need to protect our boundaries because you've crossed them. That's a totally different level. But I get this sense of like really allowing yourself to be vulnerable and trust first with this. I do feel as though for many of you, you have every right to trust the person that you are giving your heart to. So again, if you do have someone new, I would definitely say this is touching on that, them being loyal, them being trustworthy, and kind of being a really great companion is what I want with that. It's that kitsune. It's giving me that kind of really good companion. But again, it will reveal to you who the sly foxes are. And I do think if you have been having these niggles of intuition of knowing something's been wrong, this is where this card's saying the opposite and saying this person is not loyal to you. Don't trust them. But again, acknowledge what is yours and what is theirs. I don't feel like you need to take action on anything specific unless revealed to you, but take that as you will. Snow White and her animal friends is the next one. You inspire trust and confidence. It's all about trust and confidence for you this month, Sagittarius. I know they called you February, and that is really cool. That I'm going to try and name that this video. Watch me forget, and it'll be called something totally different. You inspire trust and confidence. I definitely feel as though this is a theme for you in regards to trust. It really can be a really healing time in healing your levels of trust. So for those of you who are not looking for relationships, I do think that the relationship here is the one with yourself. When it comes down to trust, I think fundamentally the issues start with ourselves and feeling with whether or not we can trust ourselves with our own heart. When we've been through a lot of breakups or a lot of bad times, we often will blame ourselves for putting ourselves in those situations. And sometimes we are at fault in the sense that we don't listen to ourselves when we know things are wrong. And this is natural. This is a part of our growth and learning and discovery and trusting in our own intuition. But sometimes we can take that to a toxic level and no longer feel that we can trust in ourselves, and that filters out to our relationships and other people. I feel as though this is a really great time for fixing that and healing that within yourself. So if you're not actually looking for love during this time, because Sagittarius, I get this sense of some of you really being not ready for that yet, and that is perfectly okay. And I definitely feel the sense of if you're not in a relationship, let's get that relationship with number one sorted first, and that's you. And if you are, again, that applies. I do feel like you are, by working on this area and really growing, I feel like people around you can see that you are growing in these areas. And I get the sense of them being proud of you and supporting you. I feel as though actually people who may have lost your trust in the past, wronged you, can kind of look at you now and feel, I don't know, I feel as though they're like, yeah, I hurt them and they're still good, in a good way. I feel as though they are kind of supporting you from a distance. I feel as though they're not, for this message, it's they're not fully in your life, a permanent part of your life. It could be an ex or something that, the reason why you separated or things went bad was because of something they did. And I feel like they are seeing that you have healed from that. And I do think that it comes with a level of support rather than a negative. So that's kind of cool. Really weird, but cool. The mermaid and the turtle woman, an elder will teach you. You're definitely growing during this time, and that means I get this sense of you transitioning and growing and evolving as a person, and the wisdom flowing. I had a touch on whisper. I had this when I got this card with someone else, and I'm not 100% that this is the message. It's not in the same way, because I was going to not say it, but it was still like, yeah, but that thought came to you. So I'm going to say it, but I don't feel like this is the main message with this card, so I'll say it and then go into the card. But something to do with whispers. How I interpreted with this with another reading I've had this with this month, it's kind of as though whispers from other people may bring wise words. It's like, for example, when we hear on the grapevine, again, that someone's proud of us, it can really boost our confidence, especially if it's coming from unexpected places. That's not exactly what I was going to say, so that's your message. And also, so I'm going to read it properly, mainly for you now. That just came really from the channel, I guess, from my channels. I feel like you are really emotionally growing during this time, and I feel that the wisdom, this wise woman, is you. Like, you don't have to be female for this message. It's more like the turtle woman, this wise woman, this elder. I feel as though it's like your higher self, or your guides. You could have a female guide if you are male. I just feel as though this is like your emotional self really bringing you the wisdom. So trust in your feelings. How you're feeling will guide you, and I'm definitely getting all of that from all of three of these cards that we've had so far. Something about you and what you're going through internally, spiritually, and really working self-work, self-love. I feel as though it comes from your emotional self. That's really cool. So again, this will teach you. So listen in, clock in, and trust. Definitely trust. That's your theme. Now, this next card, it's Elizabeth and the Lion. It's time to become a great leader. So it's time for you to acknowledge that you really are a massive asset to those around you, is what I want to say, but to your life specifically. I mean, everybody is, right? We're all the biggest asset in our lives because it's us in our lives. And I countlessly feel like that's something that I try and teach in my spiritual teachings, is that we need to realize that this journey, we really are the one that it is the story maker. It's our story. And if something doesn't sit right within it, it is your place to ensure that you're putting it right? And this is the feel with this card. Now, Elizabeth and the Lion, she gives me Elizabeth the Fast and this Lion. To me, it represents like the Strength card in tarot. And that, to me, how I read that is it's like realizing that your vulnerabilities, and for me, this is emotional self. I'm definitely getting an emotional self here for you, so this is how I'm going to read it for you. It's like your emotional self is really your biggest asset that will help you move forward. And I feel as though quicker, but this is your leadership skills, is to use your emotional self to express yourself on the outside world. A lot of us keep it in, and I feel really Sagittarius. Actually, as a Sagittarian trait, wearing your heart on your sleeve is really one of your biggest assets. However, I do feel as though personally, this might be something that you see as a weakness. And this is the shadow work to work upon, is sometimes, I think in nearly every case, many of us feel like the shadow of us is something to be ashamed of, something to suppress, to be embarrassed with. It's just another aspect of yourself. We are not just all good rainbows and butterflies. We are also dark shadows, sadness, pain, and all of that makeup makes us into who we are. That is the person who leads the way, guides the way. Your emotions help you to navigate your life, to essentially become who you need to be to inspire others, to nurture our children into adulthood. That emotional self will be the thing that I feel you will actually be proud of. And it starts today. Let's get to it, right? That's the vibe I'm getting with this. I do feel, again, that it's hard for you to realize that actually the thing that people see as well when they look at you is how emotionally connected you are is actually what makes you beautiful. And I'm not talking about aesthetically beautiful, even though that's a part of it. I mean beautiful. Like when we see someone and there's a friend and we're like, I really like that person. They're such a beautiful soul. Your emotional, I feel like how you channel that and how you put that into your relationship specifically and with yourself, because I'm getting this self vibe for you for February. That's what people are inspired by. That's what they love about you. And I feel like that's what I want you to love about yourself. Next, we have Poseidon's daughter. You have been given everything you need. And again, embodiments in water, I am really getting emotions all through this. So this could be an emotional time, but I don't feel sadness with this. When it comes with emotions, it can range from anything, and I do feel like Sagittarius, it will be specific to you and your journey. So yeah, some of you might be feeling a little overwhelmed, but I'm not getting that vibe. I'm just getting that emotions are key to driving you. Okay, so whatever you are feeling, that's what's driving you in the direction you need to go specifically. Yeah, that's what I feel you need to hear. I do feel like I want to say you could swim in your emotions. Now, remember, emotions are not sadness. When we say emotions, I know that for me, if I'm listening to a reading and they're like, oh, a lot of emotions, you're all emotional, you go straight to, oh great, I'm going to be all sad and a nervous wreck or whatever. But I think that's just what we negatively put on that, like it's something we don't want. Just for some reason we don't want to be emotional beings, like, which is so silly, because being empathic and being emotional and compassionate is really the greatest strength. The greatest humans in history are those that embody those things, right? So realize that and embrace that. However, when I say emotion, this could be like anger. You're fueled with anger and it moves you away from what no longer serves you. You're fueled with passion and excitement. These are emotions that drive you in the right direction. And again, the key is to see what it is that makes you feel whatever that emotion is. That's what I feel here. Poseidon's daughter is telling you, we're giving you what you need. You have everything. Use it. Use this as a tool. Emotion is key for you, Sagittarius. It's coming through really strong for me. And I definitely get this sense of you, once you embrace this, I mean, look at her embracing these shells. I'm seeing that once you embrace all of this that I'm saying, that you are a force to be reckoned with. Look at that gaze. She's on a mission. That's you, Sagittarius. You're on a mission, and this mission is towards whatever goal that is. As I'm saying this, I'm thinking like big picture things. So for example, if you want to build your own home, Sagittarius, what's going to fuel you is that passion. Like, I'm going to freaking build my own home. By the end of this year, I'm going to be at that next step. Either it's started or I have enough funds raised to get the loans. It's something is going to drive you towards making shiz happen. Okay. Next, pose brave flight. You will not let fear stop you now. And that's what I was saying in Kitsune, is that, 2 trucks. Cool. What I was saying is that if something is scary for you, which again, big picture things are scary, anything where we have a dream and we wish so much for it to happen, it's scary, and that can halt us. Me specifically, I can relate to this so much. I mean, I can relate to your whole reading, really. But like, if there's something I really want, sometimes I have this procrastination thing where all of a sudden it's overwhelming and I can't make myself make the steps that I know I need to make, and it's frustrating because I do see it clearly. I know what I need to do, but getting past those and over that wall and over those fears can be very difficult. And this is saying, if it seems scary, if it makes you feel anxious and nervous, it's probably because you want it so much that the thought of not having it is what's stopping you from doing it, which is really silly when we think about it. It's like, well, if I actually just went for it, then I'd know if I had a chance or not. But if I don't, but we often choose the easier route. And I think this is something I said, I don't know if I said it in a reading or one of my TikToks or something, or in my Just Talks, I might have said it in, that it's sometimes more comfortable to just sit in in the known, and like I don't have it, but I know I'm okay in this space, than to try and get it when, if you don't have it, you're in the same space anyway, but you tried, and you're actually not in the same space because you're in a space where you're like, okay, that didn't work. What's next? What can I try next? And this is the thing, like, when I talk about life being a story, tell your story. Make your story more exciting. We can literally all just sit and do nothing. And then when we die, our stories is, she was nice. She loved time to herself. Or, she was awesome. She tried. She failed. She got back up. She met so many people. See what I mean? Like, this is the legacy that we want to be leaving. And I don't want you to think about what's going to happen when I die, but I mean, sometimes I think that's a really good drive when you think about the person that you are. Are you happy in the situations that you're in? Or could this be better for yourself and the people around you? How? Why? What can I do? That's the using your emotions to get ahead. Sacred Beetle Armor. You have a mighty shield. You are a lot stronger than you think, and you are protected. You have all of your... this is what I was touching on, being empathic, is that you have your team with you. And I do feel like you have a lot of elementals around you, so keep that in mind. If you work with elements and nature, because that just came through for me. But I feel as though you have a lot of walls built up, and this is a trust thing as well. But realize that you are safe enough to take risks because you do have your sacred armor. And actually, I feel like I want to... I mean, a lot of times I'll read this card differently, but for you, it's coming through saying that you are safe, you are protected. And again, your emotions are not a negative. They're not a vulnerability. They are a tool. They're a weapon, and not a weapon of violence. Like, it's a weapon in your armor, in your armory. Yeah, it's a weapon in your armory, that can be really something that protects you as much as it kind of makes you vulnerable. Because sometimes when we are emotional and we show people those things, it can make us feel as though we're exposed. But also, I feel as though it's actually a tool that makes you be relatable, that makes you feel untouchable, because somebody who is honest and raw, a lot of people don't like that energy, not because of the person, because it reveals things about themselves. So you've got to realize that that's a shield in itself. By being raw and authentic, it is scaring off the bad, the toxic, because they can't handle that. So they will do everything to defend themselves. And so they're the people that naturally move away from you because they don't want to be around that energy. So be your authentic self. That's going to protect you as well as make you shine, get what you want and where you want in life. I hope that made sense and channels through how I needed that to come through for you. Definitely emotional, and I do get a little bit of like tears with this one. It is literally Alice and a Sea of Tears. Cast away out of your depth and feeling abandoned. Okay, so you may get overwhelmed. I am getting this sense of this being a healing journey for you, and actually a lot of love other than that first card didn't come through in terms of relationships, which is quite interesting for February reading. So I feel like you're going through a kind of healing process this month, Sagittarius, which is a good thing. Now, when you are crying, it means that things mean a lot to you. When tears are falling down, something needs to be felt. Now, I am a massive believer that if you need to cry, cry. I am also somebody who will hold my tears in if I'm around other people, so I totally get both. I mean, I'm a Taurus, so we are mysterious. We keep our emotions below the surface a lot of the time. If you follow me on TikTok, I'm trying to embrace kind of being a little bit more vulnerable and sharing myself more. I think it's like attracting, people on the same level as you. I don't know what my goal is, but I think that's kind of what it does anyway, is people can relate to your vulnerability. What people can't relate to, and it's kind of strange because we all have this mask where we feel like we have to just show the shiny side. And so when it gets to the messy side, we keep it under and we feel like we can't show it. But when you think of connections that you make that feel authentic, they're not on a level of shiny. They're actually on a level of those deep, intimate intimate conversations. And this is something that I realize like I want in my relationships with humans. I say it like that because I really am like an alien or something. Because people who are raw and real and tell me a bit about themselves, how they're feeling, what makes them tick, life things that, the trauma. Tell me about your freaking trauma. Let's work through things together. We're connecting on a really humane, like, this is humanity. This is real. This is beautiful. And that's what I want. And I feel like for you, being that vulnerable and being that open, not only with other people, but with yourself, really is going to build your relationship with yourself, which I feel is needed, as well as making you realize the type of connections that you want. I do feel as though this can indicate that a water sign in terms of love and who to attract or who you may be attracting during this time can be a water sign. And I feel like they might actually be somebody you can really relate to in terms of being emotional and being empathic. Yeah, I am thinking this is giving me kind of person vibes. It could be somebody who is very emotionally tuned as well if you are attracting. So there's a bit of love in the here for you, Sagittarius. Be aware of being very overwhelmed. Don't take on more than what you need to. And understand yourself. Again, it's all about emotions. And I don't think just one or another. I don't feel like it's just sadness. I just feel as though you have a lot of emotions to explore. This is to drive you, but it may also be your body telling you to either slow down or we need to get moving. Again, if you have been procrastinating for a very long time, again, this can get frustrating in itself. And then make us feel all different kinds of emotions. I feel like you need to be checking in with yourself and being in tune with yourself to realize why you are acting the way that you are acting, or just feel it. You might not even need to really do a whole lot of action during this time because it is very emotional based. It is about witnessing, experiencing, and understanding. So I hope that makes sense for you, Sagittarius. Thank you so much for being here. Please hit that subscribe channel to follow me in future for any future readings. And also, happy Valentine's Day. I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much.